Good morning. I'm back to answer some more questions that you guys sent in. Today I have a few all about unschooling, so I'll jump right in. So Amy says she wants to unschool, but she's been tempted by pretty curriculum packages and wants to know if I think there's ever a place for curriculum in the early years or any time at all. There's my cat. First, I would say, yeah, curriculum packages can be pretty. When I first started unschooling, I actually did several years ago order a curriculum that was literature based because the books were so nice and lovely, and there was lots of Usborne books and lots of books I remember from my childhood, and I got all enamored by this idea of, oh, these beautiful books. And I thought, well, we can still use them in an unschooling way and it would be fine. But what I found was that, in hindsight, even though, yes, the books were great, and we did use some of them, the money would have been much better spent if I had let my kids choose the books, or let the kids use the money on games they liked, or puzzles, or zoo memberships, or something else of their choosing, because it was a whole lot of wasted money on something that just because I thought it was neat. So that was the last time I did that. And we do have books, and we do have, encyclopedias, those still exist, and we have Google, and we have library cards and Zoo memberships, but now I don't buy things based on something that I think is interesting. I buy it based on what the kids think is interesting, and it's a much better use of money. So the short answer to that is no, I don't think you need to buy a curriculum, ever. Okay, the next question is from Sarah. She says, how do you handle extreme criticism from family members, such as grandparents, about unschooling? How do you educate them without sounding preachy? I like this question. First, I would say that time takes care of a lot of that, because once your kids start growing and maturing, and they're reading, and they're able to have conversations about interesting things, and they're passionate, and they're well-rounded, and they're doing cool things, and the critics can see with their own eyes how well unschooling works, and they can see it in action, and they can see how the kids are growing and learning, they're not going to be able to be as critical. Second, I would not personally try to educate anyone on unschooling. I actually don't talk about unschooling hardly at all outside of the internet, because the critical people don't really want to hear it. To people who are genuinely interested and curious and want to learn more, yes, absolutely, I could talk about it all day. But for the people who are critical off the bat and are combative, trying to educate them isn't going to help. So for them, I just keep things very general. I just talk about homeschooling in general, and I keep it very positive. And I do what they said in the old days of the AOL news list. They said it was the bean dip approach, which is you smile, you answer the question, and say, oh yes, he's doing great. Can you pass the bean dip? And that's the end of it. Change the subject. And one other note about that, if you have a family member or family members who are actually being disrespectful and not respecting your choices and your right to unschool, and it's harming your relationship with either yourself or your kids, you absolutely have the right to, and you should, I think, if talking to them has not helped, limit your time with them to keep a healthy, peaceful atmosphere for your kids. So one more sort of quick unschooling question for today. Christina says, if you are unschooling in a strict state, how do you make sure your child learns everything they need to know for the state tests? These are questions I get a lot, and I'm not really able to answer. We live in a state that's very low regulation. We have to notify the state once of our intent to homeschool, and that's it, forever. No tests, no yearly evaluations, nothing. So your best bet, every state is different, so your best bet for something like this is to get connected either online or in person with unschoolers in your state. There are people successfully unschooling in all 50 states. Connect with unschoolers in your state and talk to them and find out how they approach it. There's some different approaches. Some people will just teach to the test and help their kids pass the test. Others will do things to invalidate the tests. Some will go underground. So definitely, yes, definitely connect with people locally in your state and find out the laws, research the laws, and then talk to people who are doing it and get advice from them on what they've found, meets the laws and also allows them to remain true to their unschooling beliefs. And that's it. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.